Susan is our speaker tonight, as you just saw her chime in. And she began her Coptic journey in 2008 in the WSO class series. And she completed all the courses, became a Coptic minister in 2011. And she has taught and will be teaching, as I touched on, the Coptic Self-Mastery course this fall. She's been involved with the children's ministry, speaking and writing articles for the newsletter that will be coming out once again in the next installment in June. Susan ending a 20-year career in business to stay home with her now teenage daughters. It's hard to believe. Just little girls not too long ago. She has studied holistic healing, homeopathy, medical massage, and yoga, and she enjoys practicing yoga, writing, reading, and hiking and getting fresh air. Her dream is to walk the Camino del Santiago after her youngest daughter graduates, and that's not that far off, I don't think.
No, only 2 years away, so 2 years.
How about that? 2 years.
3 years.
Susan presents tonight, Master Love, the Pure Power of God.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here on this wonderful spring day and evening. I appreciate all of you lovely souls, and thank you to the Coptic Center for having me. Thank you to Alan and to Michael for your service. I greatly appreciate all that you do, so thank you for that. Tonight, I want to talk about Master Love, and what does that mean, and what does that look like? Love is the pure power of God, and we're talking about universal love. We're talking about spiritual love. So let's just start where we always think of where love starts, which is in our heart center. So let's take a minute, connect with our heart center. You can put your hand on your heart or just visualize your heart. And start taking some deep breaths slowly and deeply, and close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And we'll just tune into our heart center at this moment. So join with me. Taking some nice, slow, deep breaths. And continue to have your eyes closed if that is comfortable for you. And I'd like to share a reading of James Allen. Jim Campbell shared this book with me, and I'm going to do a reading on that in regards to love. It says, before a man can know love as the abiding reality within him, he must utterly abandon all those human tendencies which frustrate us perfect manifestation. A man can only consciously ally himself to the vine of love by deserting all strife and hatred and condemnation and impurity and pride and self-seeking, and by thinking and doing loving deeds. By doing so, he awakens within him the divine nature which he has hitherto been crucifying and denying. Every time a man gives way to anger, impatience, greed, pride, vanity, or any form of personal selfishness, he denies the Christ. He shuts himself out from love. So with that, you could come back and open your eyes and sit comfortably in your chair, and we're going to just do a quick heart opening. So just take your shoulders back and just open your heart to receive any message that you may hear tonight. In my talks, if you're familiar with them, I've been talking for about 10 years now. So I do a lot of connecting with Hamid Bey and letting the words of Hamid Bey speak, and just injecting some thoughts and some questions. And that's kind of what I like to do. My talks are very Hamid Bey based. So let the words of Hamid Bey flow through me to you, and just try to resonate with some of his words and feel, anything that feels right for you personally, using your discernment to see what really feels good. So I'm going to talk about love. First of all, let's just start with love. When we think about love, do we think about a color? And feel free to chime in. I like people that interact and talk. So I don't want to be the only person talking, but anybody think of any color? You guys can be quiet. So obviously, red usually comes to mind when we think of love, Valentine's Day and that sort of thing, or possibly pink is a color that we associate with love. I like to associate the color green with love, and that's why I really like Michael's background, which is mostly green. That's really the color of love for me. It's a very healing color. It's Mother Nature, in which really signifies love to me. So that's the color of love that resonates with me. But perhaps for you, it's purple or even blue or orange. So everybody's a little different. So let's think about shape. Do we associate a shape with love? Everyone's quiet. The heart.
Yeah.
So we associate, we can do this. We typically associate our heart chakra, the heart with love. But is really that the only place that love resides? Is it possibly in our pineal gland, in our third eye, maybe in our sacral chakra, or maybe it's just all around us? So everybody's different. Everybody has a different thought. But culturally, we assume, like, associate love with a heart shape. But it could be a circle. It could be an infinite circle that keeps going around and around. It's never ending. It's eternal. Or it could be the infinity side, which is like a figure eight. Can't do that here. But, there's different symbols that we might think of as love. So that's just something to think about. Hamid Bey says in lesson 25, instead, all the things we seek in nature are short-lived. Many times we objectify our love, and as long as we do so, it will be short-lived. We say, I love this and I love that. But we are misapplying the word love because we cannot be in love with an inanimate object since it cannot love in return. By misapplication, the concept of love is shrunken from a macrocosm concept to a microcosm concept. For love is not this or that. And Hamid Bey says in all capitals, love is all there is. And that was lesson 25. In today's world, we've really diluted the term love. We're using it for all sorts of things. I love my phone. I love my car. I love my house. So it's losing its meaning and its significance. So what really is love? Is it a feeling? Perhaps an emotion? Is it an action or an idea in your head? Is it a state of being? A consciousness? Is it from God, spirit, creation, the universe, whatever you feel comfortable calling love? Hamid Bey again says in all caps, love is all there is. So, do you believe this? As Coptics, do we believe this? Is it still valid in today's cultural and world and everything that's going on? I like to follow the minimalist. I don't know if you're familiar with these two guys, but they're two guys that live a minimalist life. They're called the Minimalists, and they have a book coming out called Love People, Use Things, because the opposite never works. Can you love food? Do you love chocolate? But can chocolate love you back? I don't know. Clothes, a car, a house. We use the word love all the time, but really, are we diluting that, making it less important and impactful? In lesson 12, Hamid Bey says, people are so busy nowadays. Now remember, this was written in probably the 40s. So we're almost 100 years from here. And yet people were busy back then. Think of how we are today, how different that is, but yet it's the same. Sometimes love is a scarce commodity, for they have no time for friendship, no time to be kind to each other, no time to love. You can become an unusual person sought by others if you have the fortitude and strength to express kindness and love to your fellow man. And how appropriate is that in today's world? Love is rare in today's world of instantaneous gratification from our social media feeds. Who can we love? Love is love. What matters is that we love family, friends, acquaintances, ourselves, everyone, God. Who is the hardest to love? Is that ourselves? Something to think about. And who is the easiest to love? Possibly your children. I have teenagers. I love them, but sometimes it's challenging. So, if we love ourselves, we will have love to give others. Loving ourselves is loving God. Loving God is loving everyone. Therefore, if we love ourselves, we are loving everyone. Pretty simple. So in lesson 3, Hamid says, to express universal consciousness, therefore, is to express friendship and love towards everything in the universe, and not to confine that love to a select few. Interesting. The word love is indicative of a force which has a tremendous power. Not only do we identify God with love, but we say that God is love and love is God. And here he capitalizes that. In all creation, this word of 4 letters, L-O-V-E, connotes the strongest feeling man can possibly know. Love is the mysterious key which opens all doors, as no door can remain closed to love, no matter how thick it may be. As long as we are alive, the power of love exists within us. Without love, we cannot exist. We cannot measure the power of love, nor can we dictate how love should work, because love is stronger than reason, stronger than man. Love is God, working through man, and man directs that love. Love is like any other of our 5 senses, with the exception that it is extremely more powerful and is a power of good, no matter on whom or what we bestow it. It will melt a heart of stone if we persist, because, as Hamid says, the pure power of God and we are its instrument of expression. So I ask you this question: where is love? Where does love reside? Is love in our hearts? Is love in the air? Is love in our consciousness? Where can it be found? Think of that. And then Hamid continues with the concept of love. We speak of love, we speak of God and love as being synonymous. The concept of love has many facets. And so the conception of love is different within each individual. It could be a superficial love or a deep love. It could be the love of flesh, the love of money, the love of many things. But love itself is not many. Love is one. This one great love is the father and mother of all loves. Because God is love, and he has created many things, and they are all a part of him. Likewise, God has divided himself into many states of subjectivity, many facets of expression, and many facets of love. God manifested and divided himself into many ideas. An idea is made of love. It is only part of the great love. An idea is part of God, and then we create an idea. An idea is a microcosm. it is not universal. Love in itself is the origin of all things. For when all things become existent, love existed, because love is God. Love is eternal, having no beginning and no end. Until love lends itself to the concept of our mentality, of our five senses, love cannot be comprehended in its true nature, because we cannot comprehend eternity. We discuss it and have theories of all sorts concerning it, but no one can have the complete concept of universal love. It is therefore a fallacy for any one person to believe that he has the whole truth and that no one else possesses the truth. Society should be ruled by universal principles, the strongest of which is the principle of love. All our actions should be motivated by love. If we instead divert the power of love and submit it to our ego, to our reason, we defeat the spiritual purpose. In consequence, we build up a destiny which is not to our liking, and later we wonder why. In the beginning was love, and everything that was created by the principle of love. Therefore, love is the rhythm and harmony of all creation and must always be in manifestation. Our physical existence should be ruled by love, not by fear, for fear replaces faith and love, and we do things because we are afraid. We punish people to make them behave, and we deprive them of the opportunity of learning that which is good. Consequently, we perpetrate a negative condition instead of eliminating it. By entertaining thoughts of complete faith and love, eliminating all fear, the promoting activation of all human activity would then be guided by God. Principles and not by reason, ego, fear, principles. Love is the most valuable thing that can be received or given because it is real. We must cultivate that love. It is not true that a word of love gives inspiration. Is it not true that a word of love gives inspiration to the heart of man? So I ask you, when is love? Is love a moment? Is it always present? Is it timeless, eternal, endless? So never forget that the God of love is always available if we call upon him in faith, believing. By realizing this, our spirits will respond and carry us through any difficulty. Be in love with everything, but first, last, and always be in love with God. If you are in love with God, you are in love with all people, not only an individual, because love is the only key which opens the door to universal consciousness. Therefore, always remember, in all caps, to be in love with love. And in ending this, I say, how is love? Is love an action? Perhaps a hug? Is it tolerance? Is it patience? Is it self-control? Is it awareness? Love, service, and unselfishness are the keynotes for human relationships. Mastering love is ultimately mastering relationships with yourself, with your fellow human beings, and ultimately with your Creator. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Susan.
And I love you all.
All you need is love. Dun, 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 dun. Where's Linda when we need her?
That's the music we'd be playing.
Oh, so how come the world doesn't see that is with that lesson? You know, it's how much the world would be such a better place if we just chime into that and Is it really that difficult?
Yeah, it's a consciousness level, it's an energy level. So we have to help raise the vibration of the world so that we can bring the world up.
Most people aren't in love with themselves very much.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Finding it within so we can radiate it outward to everybody.
Right. So starting with yourself and then spreading it out to the world. Ultimately, it starts with your love of God.
And the Greeks defined, excuse me, 8 different types of love, like eros, erotic, philia, agape. Yeah, that just covers. But I remember growing up, raised in a Catholic household, I had once said, I love this orange. And my mother said, no, you like the orange very much.
Your
So
mother was
she
very wise.
had that division between, things. But if God created everything and everything is love, then in a way you can't. It's what kind of love? Is it consuming, to love your car more than your neighbor?
Right. Right. So thank you for letting me share my thoughts and Hamid's thoughts on love.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you.